So I never considered getting into the hired killer business before. Shocking, I know. But if it's anything like it is in this movie, where I can just listen to the Smiths, do yoga, and eat McDonald's all day long, I might need to consider a career change here. What's up, guys? I'm Sully, and today I am very excited because we finally get to talk about the new David Fincher movie, The Killer. All you need to know about this one is that the story goes like this. After a fateful near miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal. So this is a movie I have been looking forward to for a long time for obvious reasons. I feel like if you catch me on the right day of the week, I'm going to tell you that David Fincher is the best movie director of all time. So many of his films are on my list of the best ever made. I'm talking The Social Network, Seven, Fight Club, Gone Girl, Zodiac, which I think is his masterpiece, by the way. But the list just goes on and on. The guy is an absolute powerhouse. I will say, though, a few years ago he did that movie Mank, and I just wasn't all that interested in it. It was a very big change of pace compared to what we've come to expect from a David Fincher movie. There were no thrills, no twists, no messed up scenes that are forever seared into my brain. Call me a knuckle dragger, but that's what I want when I sit down to watch one of his movies. So when it was announced that his next project was a tense thriller about a hitman with Michael Fassbender in the lead role, oh, I knew we were back in business, baby. Getting into the meat and potatoes of this story, of course, on the surface, this movie is about an assassin, and a job goes wrong, and his employer retaliates because of it, and he wants payback. How many times have we seen a story like that done before, right? But I actually think it's unlike any type of hitman movie I've ever seen in my life. It's much more of a deep character study into the mind of this assassin that walks us through all of his rules to live by while he's on this mission. And when it comes to the pacing and the subject matter, the movie meanders around a lot, and it still doesn't give me that vintage David Fincher feel that I absolutely love. It's not filled to the brim with dark visuals, loads of tension, and spurts of high-octane action, but I think if you're someone like me that loves the Fight Club side of things more than the Mank side of things, there's a lot more for you to latch onto here. And before we move on, I just have to mention that even though The Killer isn't the most exciting film in Fincher's catalog, the one massive action sequence he does give us in this is absolutely masterful. Probably one of the best directed fight scenes I've ever witnessed. Whenever you have Michael Fassbender going up against the guy that played Sauron in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, blood will be spilled. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Now, getting into the performances here, I've always loved Michael Fassbender, but I really think he was the perfect choice for the main character of this movie. You look back at his performances, he's always so calculated and precise. Those two attributes really lend themselves well to this assassin type of persona. I mean, you look at his roles in the Alien franchise, he was always so deliberate and emotionless. That's basically the best audition tape ever to be the lead in this movie. And there are other solid performances scattered throughout the film, but we're pretty much with this one character for the entire duration of the movie. Tilda Swinton and Charles Parnell have small but impactful roles in the film too, and they both play off of Michael Fassbender's cold and tight-lipped performance really well. There's a lot here to digest, and I think the ending of this film is really going to have people talking. I know I've definitely been trying to make sense of it since I saw it last week, but what's kind of wild is that when you boil it down, this movie is about a perfectionist that always has to keep reminding himself not to let his emotions affect the way he carries out his line of work. And if we know anything about David Fincher, it's that he's garnered a pretty big reputation over the years for being a very hard director to work with. He's a massive control freak. He'll do a scene 1,000 times until he gets it the way he wants it, and he doesn't care who he pisses off in the process. It's just super interesting that he decided to make this movie around this main character that in a lot of ways mirrors the way the general public sees his personality. Whether all of that stuff is true or not, who knows? Actors seem to really love working with him, but you just can't ignore all the rumors that have been floating around for the past decade. Now, if he starts listening to the Smiths, eating a ton of McMuffins, and doing yoga every day, we might have a real problem here. But until then, it's just another cool way to look at the movie and offers a compelling reason to revisit it later on. Overall, guys, I definitely enjoyed my time with The Killer. It doesn't have as much flair or lasting power as some of David Fincher's earlier movies do for me, but that doesn't make it any less effective in what it originally sets out to accomplish. Michael Fassbender kills it in this role. What the story has to say is interesting the whole way through, and how the actual narrative is structured keeps you on your toes. I don't see it ever being in the conversation of the best Fincher films, but man, is it good to have this guy back to doing what he does best. The Killer gets a Sully score of 4 stars. So that's my review of the latest David Fincher movie. What do you think is the best film he's ever directed? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also coming out with a full David Fincher ranking video later on, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.